sworn in.
Yep.
We all were.
All right, we're gonna be reacting to the new Exorcist. Believer.
And then I saw her face.
Now I'm a
Trailer
believer.
for
Now I know
new
this
Exorcist movie
Then
that
I
we
saw.
all just kind of collectively found out about,
Yeah, no kidding.
and directed by the dude who did the recent Halloween movies.
All right, I'm excited. Let's go.
Haven't seen any of those, but I heard the first one's at least decent.
Don't fall asleep, because Pazuzu will kill you in your dreams. Hey, so a fucking Reagan lookalike already.
Here are your daughters, Angela and Catherine. It's about 7 hours ago, and that's the last information we have.
Catherine!
That lady.
If you can hear this, we love you. Please come home.
Hey, you found her? What are you and Catherine doing out there in those woods?
We were just walking and walking. That's all I remember.
Angela, can you tell your dad how long you were gone?
A few hours.
Baby, you've been gone 3 days.
That Leslie Odom.
I think so, yeah.
The piano.
But only a little bit.
Girl, go back to
What's up,
bed.
baby?
Thought I heard you say something.
What'd you say to me, Dad?
You okay?
Wherever those girls went, they brought something back with them.
The dead horse.
The blood of Jesus Christ.
Piano.
Stop it. Stop. Jordan Peterson?
Body in the blood?
Potty in the blood?
Body in the blood. The body in the
Oh
blood.
my god.
The body in the blood.
Catherine!
The body in the blood. The body in the
Yeah.
Have you ever
Oh.
anything like this?
Mommy?
No,
Once
but there
before.
are people out there who have.
Whoa. Reagan.
You have some experience with possession.
Yes, more than I'd like.
But I believe you have
Power of Christ.
Yep, she's there.
Power of Christ.
Exorcism is a ritual. Every culture, every religion, they all use different methods.
Apparently,
It's going to take
if
all of them.
you're possessed, you get a 5 head.
Don't be scared.
We've met before.
What? Oh, come on.
Drip drop.
Is that Catherine's heartbeat?
They're beating in sync.
Oh, they even did some of that stuff. Oh, cool. That's a kind of interesting throwback. I don't know what to think though.
Yeah, there's a lot of it that's very overt, signaling to people who were originals of the first, and some of it's
Kind of like the trailer for those first Halloween movies, too.
yeah.
So there was an image of a dead horse. I think that was pretty suspect.
No, take the stick out of your hand, please. He's already dead.
Stop it! Stop it! It's already dead.
Please. It's been 4 hours.
Oh
No,
man!
it's been 25 years.
Stop it! Just let him die.
Well, okay, I can't say that they are like explicitly doing anything wrong. They're trying to continue a story and tell something maybe original and from themselves using this like already existing franchise. But man, I know that if I watch this movie and they're saying like the possessed girls are being like, "I'm Pazuzu" and shit, I'm gonna be rolling my eyes into the back of my head.
I don't know. I'm interested maybe just to see what the story of that is and why they're in sync, and there might be cool elements to the story. I know it looks face value like the trailer. I don't know if it's doing it justice or what. It's just making you feel the vibes of the OG one, especially with showing the mom from the first, and then like, I mean, just the imagery that they use, like those makeshift screen burns where it looks like those jump scares from the original.
Yeah, the Pazuzu face from the original. The thing that really stood out to me as being like, okay, you did nothing original here was the one quick look of the two dogs fighting against each other. It's like that means nothing for this film that you're showing. Why put it in the trailer other than being like, look, we're using an exact shot from the original. Here's an interest for you.
Yeah, the stuff I liked from the original movies was the idea of like these guys solving this problem as if it was like just a normal occurrence. Like, all right, we're not gonna read too much into like the demonology of it, but it's like these guys just show up to work to exorcise a demon, right? They're like, all right, let's get our hands dirty, let's go. And then the other stuff of like going to, especially at the beginning of the first movie when like you're in like this desert, and he's like, it's almost like an archaeological dig or something. Like you do some kind of like research on these demons in some form and like where they originated, and you learn a little bit about them. So there's like a studying aspect of it, and to understand it better, you to like a way to defeat it. I like those kind of elements from the movies.
Yeah, the book and the original movie both very heavily dealt with the idea of the like psychology part of it, where Father Karras was approaching it from like, look, your daughter is exhibiting all the symptoms of X, Y, and Z, and if like a few overt shots were taken out of that first movie, it could be sold in the way of like, hey, this could just be a mental thing that she's going through, and the book goes more into like, you know, if your daughter, if Reagan, if she's feeling like depressed because you're divorced, or she's borrowing a book from a neighbor that talks about the occult, and she's opening herself more up to the ideas of this thing, they do a good job of showing you how the lines between the real of the psychology and the science and even the religion part of it mixes with all the mythology and the parts that are beyond our understanding.
Yeah, and those are the things I grasp onto, because you can look at it in so many different ways, and each way is valid in its own way, you know.
Yeah, and they even go so far as to say like, well, she says that she's the devil. Well, that's what crazy people say, you know. Like, it seems like here they're just being like, hey, fucking demons, hell,
Fucking demons, dude.
what I don't know, what real life what parts of real life they could incorporate into this to make it less than just something akin to like the possession of Emily Rose, or whatever that movie is called, where there's tons of other movies that have been made since The Exorcist dealing with this same subject matter, but it's almost always overtly spooky,
Dead horse.
supernatural. Get up from the ground, please.
You got work to do.
We can't beat you if you're dead. But Fox had a TV show for The Exorcist within the last decade, and that fizzled out and didn't do well. So,
yeah, I never watched it. And look at this.
Yeah,
This imagery is cool, but I don't know if
it seems like they're trying to again like ape off of the first movie where Reagan she comes into the middle of the dinner party and interrupts all this stuff, and from the outside, without the context, the people in this room might be seeing it like, oh, this poor sick little girl, what's wrong, how can we help her?
Yeah.
But for the audience and the people in the movie in the know, oh, spooky demon stuff.
Yeah, and I just keep thinking of like all the really brutal imagery from the first movie, and how it, like, you know, allegedly made people faint and throw up or whatever else. It's like you see Linda Blair like masturbate with a crucifix. Like, is there going to be something equivalent to that, or imagery as shocking in these movies, because it's modern? And back then you'd probably get away with a lot of shit, and Friedkin was really brash with that stuff.
Yeah, he wanted to get as much as he could out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't don't use the past for a cheap excuse at a scare, and also don't use that kind of subject matter of like people hurting themselves, people putting themselves in vulnerable positions, because that's what is scary about the idea of this, especially if you're a parent, is like
Mhm.
somebody that you love, regardless if they're possessed or sick or whatever, they're in a position where you have no idea how to help them, but your only drive is to do something to help them, and you just feel completely out of your depth, you know?
Yeah. But then, yeah, and then the takeaway from the original movie, you can like glean so many different things, but the moral of it is that these good-hearted old and young priests basically sacrifice their lives to just save one little girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Yeah,
just that theme of the movie just makes it more profound and way more, in my eyes, just a really perfect ending. Like these guys that are, their job is to, like, be devout Christians and, understand faith and things like that, but the ultimate sacrifice is the one thing that can save this girl, and they basically take it upon themselves to like somehow absorb that feeling that the kid is having and then just kill themselves over it. Like it's
yeah,
it's
because
really poetic.
yeah, it's much less about like defeating this ancient evil that's been around for generations, and that's there'll be heroes and legends or any religious aspect of it. It's just about how can we help this girl and save her from this hurt that she's going through.
Hmm.
Part of this trailer that's confusing to me is them invoking Reagan. Are they trying to say that like um, she's dead so that the demon or whatever can channel her or communicate her, or it does probably seem like they're just like using Reagan's experience and all that as a way to torture Chris.
Yeah. I think that's more so what it is.
It could be interesting though if like because Chris is shown in a YouTube video here talking about this experience. She wrote a book. Like maybe later in life, Reagan killed herself because she couldn't handle being the subject of all these people like giving her attention and focusing on her. And Chris wrote a book that like before Reagan died or something, and now Chris is totally feeling guilty for that. And I don't know.
Yeah, that could be it. There is going to be some aspect of that. I'm thinking like these parents are at their last strands of hope and they just seek her out. Like, has anybody else dealt with this? Like, oh yeah, I remember this girl and her daughter, and we should connect with her. Maybe she'll understand.
I in all of these scenes of like exorcism from this trailer and stuff that we see of these little girls being possessed, do I don't know that we've ever seen a religious or like priest figure, so it will be interesting because they're kind of representing Chris here. They're presenting her as like the Jamie Lee Curtis of the Halloween movies, where it's like
Yeah.
it's a legacy character. She doesn't have any ability to exercise or do anything, but she's the person you remember.
This, like, that's another world entirely, and it's like, where are they in that scene with the car crash?
Yeah, that part of it is interesting because it seems like they're delving into like, oh, this is a previous time this specific demon or a possession happened in this other country, and we can connect the two. So I mean, kind of how they did with the first movie or even the god awful sequel.
Mhm.
I
Believer. So
before I watched this trailer, I was half expecting to see at least like a flash of the Pazuzu statue or some kind of imagery other than them doing homages through like the screen burn stuff.
mhm.
I don't know. That guy look from far away in the church looked like Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
God, it like I what was her name? It wasn't Susan, but Chris and Reagan had this like live-in nanny, nurse, maid, helper, assistant kind of person in the first movie. Sharon, it was Sharon. What if, what if this like
Sharon D's nuts, dude.
what if the
Sharon.
older character in the Scrubs that we've seen is Sharon. Like, what if they? How many people do you think that they're going to try and bring into this from the originals that they can?
Brain.
How many are still alive?
Hanging
Yeah,
brain.
because even when I saw Ellen Burstyn's name, I was like, Jesus, she's still alive?
Right. Yeah, good old Ellen Burstyn these nuts, dude.
Gross. The Exorcist believer, huh? That
Believer.
the tagline might be something there.
Barely know her. Yeah, I don't know. It's whatever.
I'll watch it if it
just
comes
looks
on
like,
streaming. There you go.
It just looks like every other modern horror movie, I guess. Could be good, I guess. Could not be. I don't know.
Could be okay.
Yeah, it might
Be
be
okay.
okay. It might be just an okay. It's gonna be an homage. And,
I'm probably going to have to watch it because I've seen. I think there's only one of the movies that I haven't seen, and I didn't bother to watch the like third season of the. I watched the TV show. I watched most of the sequels. I should probably watch this just for consistency's sake.
yeah,
Right.
I'm like that with some movies, like Halloween, like we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess we'll just wait to see what happens with this flick. October. That's pretty soon.
I'll give it a peek. I hope I don't get possessed from watching the movie.
Oh my god.
Oh.
I need an old broad and a young broad.
I need an old broad. I need an Eric.
I'm in between.
In between. Yeah, I
I'm
need
not a young broad or an old broad.
I
I'm
just need
a broad.
I just need one in between maybe.
Yeah, that's me.
I need a broad median.